welcome to another cross-banless duel, and we have the notorious Nekroz on the right and full power post-bosh PePe on the left. Now this is going to be an interesting match, and it's going to be best of 5. However, I feel like this is slightly in Nekroz's favour if they win the dice roll perhaps, but that's not how it gets played out. PePe starting off, monkey board, Gi turtle, the usual stuff. Wizard resolving there. You guys how know this works. Wizard fills up your extra deck, gets 2 searches. He's gonna get that Gi turtle resolve there by searching the lizard draw to draw one off the turtle and then draw one off the lizard. And then he's gonna make Ptolemaeus going into infinity. Trick Clown comes out, and yeah. We're just going to see a monstrous board here made by PePe. This is really the peak of this deck, with the instant fusion as well, extending those combos. Absurd like levels of play going on. Like we've really there's not much we've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh that can really top this, apart from the rulers themselves. You know how it is. Ending with a board there, turn 1 of Dweller, Infinity, Rafflesia. So Nekroz, probably one of the better decks to be able to play out of this. Dweller made because regardless of what happens, you know, if he manages to resolve a Herald, it's not going to get the search, which could be pretty critical. We see the straight up Veiler of the Senju there, and then he's going to follow up with a prep, and then prep being negated by Infinity. We figured that if he's using prep without anything engraved, chances are it's worth negating with Infinity, because yeah, it means that his hand really needed that search there, which he's not going to be able to get it off with 2 negates. Veiler in hand, 3 XCs on the field, really just unbelievable like stuff. Like that really is no better like play this deck can do. So Nekroz player just forced to just pass, like losing out on 2 searches. Pretty decisive in this situation. So we're just doing the maths here, counting it up. Interesting fact, you can conductor your own monster, so Rafflesia is a big booty. That means she's going to get a fat attack of 2500, and that takes it for game 1. Very convincing game 1 by PePe there. A fairly unfair hand. Really, you're not going to be opening that well every game with PePe, although you will be opening pretty close to that well, let's be fair. Nekroz starting up with those Jew searches, and yeah, we're gonna see some Nekroz power in here. Remember, this is the full power Nekroz. This is the first format. This is when Jin was a thing. So PePe struggle against floodgate monsters to an extent, not really going to be doing too well against things like a Vanity's Fiend in this day and age, and in this format of course with Nekroz. Jinlock, you know, which is basically Vanity's Fiend but with protection. It's going to have an even harder time to get that going. So we see the standard combo of Unicorn Senju here, making the Lavavo Chain detaching, but we see a clutch Lavavo Chain going off there. Very clutch Lavavo Chain, stopping that Jinlock from going off. So not really much choice here except to go for Unicorn. Unicorn itself being a big problem card for Nekroz, however, for PePe, sorry. Negating everything in your extra deck, making everything useless, and there's no way you can actually out the Unicorn except by simply running it over. And we all know that running over things against Nekroz, that's not really a thing. You can't really run over cards against Nekroz with the big Valk in hand. Maybe the decisive potentially if you're playing it. We decided not to play it in this deck, in this build. During the first format, decisive probably not played as much as it was later on. After a couple of hits took place, decisive of course lets you do certain 3-card OTKs and stuff, but not very useful in the mirror match, so not a lot of people played decisive to begin with initially. But there were some cute, interesting plays that it did, but not running it here. So anyway, back to the duel, we have the EmEm player going off with the face-offs. Again, despite stopping that clutch Lavavel chain, that clutch Jin search, is still going to be able to do some relatively decent plays. Unicore, of course, is a major problem. Another advantage here for the Nekroz player is the fact that Infinity doesn't hurt Nekroz too much, unless of course they open as nutty as we saw in game 1. Because as soon as you activate Kaleidoscope as a Nekroz player, your opponent's gonna have to force the Infinity, because they just summon Unicorn and then that Infinity gets negated. You know how it goes. So the EmEm player made Trapeze there, trying to attack over the Unicorn. That got Valked. Nekroz player drawing for turn, summons the Jew, and yeah, pretty much we're gonna go off here and see what kind of plays we can do. Jew there getting the Exo Mirror, and we're gonna have an overlay and a Direwolf pop of the back row. I personally feel at this stage there was really no need. Both players know each other's lists. In theory, that might have been good because of things like Strike. I feel like probably wasn't really necessary. But yeah, I guess you could put that down to subjectivity if you want to decide on whether or not it was better to pop the back row there. Assuming that, you know, some EmEm players are playing traps and stuff. Jordan here on the left, this is his build. He won our regional with it at the weekend. Pretty much playing card for card what he won the regional with, and he decided that, you know, there's really no need to play traps. Playing traps in a deck that in the mirror match you always want to go first, and you're not always guaranteed that dice roll win. So going into the mirror match second with, you know, solemn notices in your hand is they're not going to be too useful here. So he's considering what to do on the cycle here. He has a Maxi in hand. He wants to hold the Maxi in hand because his opponent's going to try Trish him, and it means he can discard Maxi as cost and cause the Trishula to fizzle. But we decide that it's probably better just to drop the Maxi anyway, because he's going to lose 2 cards regardless. But at least with Maxi he draws 2 cards. So really Trish doesn't do anything because it puts him on the same amount of cards. And yeah, so he draws for turn here for the Bryanak, summon Bryanak, bounces away. The Trapeze and the Tricklon comes on underneath it. So he draws 1 for Maxi, he's got Crobat in hand. And then, yeah, there's only 1 top deck in the entire deck that can save him at this point after this Trishula resolves, if he keeps that Crobat. And, well, I guess I'll let you see what that top deck is for yourself.
Oh! Wow! Wow!
What life man?
You're a fool. Not enough. No, you're a fool. He's fine. Oh, wow. That's disgusting. What the fuck?
Please do bear in mind that that was a Jind Trish. That second Lavavel chain, after overlaying the Unicorn for the Direwolf, let him make the Lavavel chain live by clearing the Unicorn for the Direwolf instead. So that completely wipes the board, and you know, Crobat is a 1-card scale. He's got a full extra deck, so yeah, he makes Infinity because his opponent's on 1 card. If your opponent is on that low amount of cards, they're not gonna be able to bait out Infinity at all. They're not gonna be really. I mean, he's gonna get a ton of mirror searches, sure, but unless he's like hard drawn, the Unicorn, there's really no need that consider anything else except from just negate like that 1 possible play, which is a Senju. Sorry, Manju. So summon Manju. Okay, Infinity negate. And past turn, that's really that's just it. Like, what else can you possibly do? And yeah, so he draws for turn here. All he needs is a monster to attack for game, and that's going to be enough based on the life points. So Yep, that was pretty swift and decisive. So game 3 here, starting up again. PePe in the lead with 2-0. Nekroz absolutely have to win this game to stay in it. And yeah, he opens up with the standard Senju, get Kaleido, get Unicorn, get Bryanak, make Lavabo Chain. You know how it all goes. Sends the Jin, no Vela this time. Jin Vela, of course, being very decisive in game 2 there. Absolutely crucial. And yeah, banishing the Jin from the graveyard, summon out that Colossalas. Nekro's gonna really have PePe gonna have a really hard time to struggle and get around things like Jin, things like Vanity's Fiend. These are all cards that PePe really struggle with, so not too many main deck outs, but of course there are some. But there are ways to play around it, and I believe he does open one out in some shape or form. I'll let it play out and just see how it goes. Yeah, there it is. It's the Mirror Conductor. That's the hard drawn out. Of course, Colossalas has a tiny attack, so that's gonna mean that Conductor shifts it to 12 defense instead of the usual 23. Setting 1 and passing, activating a skill. The Gungnir, of course, is what protected that Jin lock there. Summoning of the Senju there. Getting the cycle. 2 Jews in hand, so he's just going to cycle 1 away for a Unicorn. Not the greatest of plays, a little bit neg, but Unicorn, you know, we're all aware of just how important that card is. And yeah, it's totally shuts down PePe decks, but we decide that it's probably better to shuffle away the Parrot, the Perform Mage there, because it's just going to be used as another out to the Colossalas next turn, so Unicorn doesn't really do much if you can't protect your Jin, so better to try Castell it away. However, that gets Waveringed, which searches him the Eccentric Archfiend. Eccentric Archfiend, of course, just being played as a one-of, because it is searchable through Wavering, and of course that Archfiend pops the Jin Klaus, and that's gonna allow his dead hand to start being able to play some cards here, and he goes for the face-off. So he hits the vanilla here, I think, which isn't too great, but he does have he has instant fusion here, so he's probably he's got multiple different options here. He decides not to bring out Maxi because it's just gonna like clog his field, because he doesn't really need anything else. It's better just to like get the high skill, summon out 4 guys. No point having Maxi on the field, even if you're just summoning Nodin as one dude. It's really no big deal when you're playing a deck like PePe that can just pendulum summon everything out. So Ignister, yeah, he's got 2 Drixlers on the field, and yeah, he's just gonna go in like this. There's really no real way you can lose here. Master gets brought out to make a Castell, I think, because that'll make it game. I think he knows that his hand doesn't have a Valk based on the searches. I'm pretty sure he's aware of the fact that he doesn't have Valk. But yeah, that's pretty much that's gonna be game right there. 3-0 guys, 3-0. So the rest of this video is just gonna be a bonus match. I thought I would include one because it's really back and forth. It actually takes longer than all of these 3 duels combined, so I'm gonna commentate over that now. Just because, you know, it's nice to see a deck, you know, come out and win the best of 5, but yeah, who really wants to, like, you know, we want to get a good gauge of it. We want to see like a couple games. 5 matches in reality probably not enough in the long run to really judge which deck is the better of the decks cross ban list. So we just play a couple more regardless. So yeah, I'm just gonna like let that play out now, and we'll see what goes here. So Nekroz, of course, gonna start off again as the usual. Could have went for that Genlock, but Maxi, of course, in the hand. Deck does play like 5 hand traps. When you're playing in a PePe mirror format, you're gonna need a lot of hand traps, especially if your decks. I mean, especially if you're, you know, not gonna be winning dice rolls of every round. That's not guaranteed. So you do need to compensate for that in some shape or form. You can't just rely on going first every time. Otherwise, of course, you know, we'd be aware of the fact that the Ariadne build would be the best in the game, most likely, if you were guaranteed first every time. But that's not how life works. So making Ignister here, because it's one of the few cards in the deck that's actually big enough to attack over a Unicorn. But you gotta be careful that you don't waste your Ignisters. You can go into things like Trapeze and stuff. Getting Trished is a risk. Bryanak is, you know, not too deadly against Pendulum decks, because as you're aware, penduluming out the guys from the extra deck, Bryanak will bounce them. However, Bryanak will bounce them to the main deck rather than the extra deck. That's how that works. So Bryanak's going to put in a lot of work in this game. As you can see, he just pendulums out his whole hand, tries to attack over the Unicorn, that gets Valked, and well, you know, it's probably like the best course of action here, just to chump block like this. I mean, worst case scenario here is he's just gonna, like, what's the worst the Nekroz player is gonna do here to him? Exiton him, of course. Don't forget, Exiton was very much legal for full power Nekroz format. But you know, do bear in mind that, like, there's really no way that he can, like, sure, he got Exiton there, but he's really not in a bad position at all. Like, all those pendulum monsters, they come right back. Scales aren't an issue, because, you know, PePe can make scales very, very easily. Now, you probably did notice that Exiton did hit a plush fire there. But, of course, you know, don't forget, Trishula is a card. So, resolving plush fire won't benefit in any shape or form, because of the fact that you put yourself in risk. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to bring out a Juggler or a Trick Clown, and it's just going to get trished. So, it's better just to leave your field open. You're not going to die, because Exiton's effect means that you don't take any damage for the rest of the turn, so it is nothing to fear at all whatsoever. So better just to summon out Valk, get some advantage, use the effect, etc. Valk, of course, being very good for... Well, Nekroz not really a deck good at generating advantage, but it maintains it really well, and it digs deep into the deck very well, of course, for all the different power cards, the unsearchables. Crobat there getting G-Turtle activated, and gonna pendulum out more guys. I don't think we know that he has Valk in his hand at this point. I think he flashed the Trishula. I don't think he flashed the Valk, however. So it might be worth arguing that Valk probably should have stayed in the hand. I'm actually not sure if he has Valk in hand. We'll see how it goes. There's going to be some kind of overlay or Synchro Summon played at this point, either into the Ignister or Trapeze, just to, like, make something big enough to run over that Unicorn, so the PePe player is actually going to be able to play. So he attacks over Senju, and then Gungnir's on the Unicorn, so he's still going to take damage there. But it's not too much of an issue, because, I mean, the PePe player, sure, like, he's probably a little bit frustrated that he's still not being able to play because of that Unicorn. But really, like, the Nekroz player doesn't have much to do here. Like, sure, he's keeping a floodgate on the field that's causing him to neg 1 every turn, but it's not advancing his game state, because he's just sitting there, like, protecting this one card that isn't really doing anything for it. So here he decides that, you know, we need to go on the offensive, we need to do something here. So tribute off your field, get 2 draws, get some mirror searches, and see if we can, like, clear this field and do something about this problematic pendulum mechanic. Like, many have argued, many have decided to quit altogether because of it, saying that it really is a strong mechanic, constantly being able to just spit out like 5 cards every turn, every single turn, potentially forever, if you have the correct skills for it. And yeah, so the Nekroz is going to have to go on the offensive here. Exiton here would probably, arguably be a good play here, but I think he's actually up in advantage now because of the Valk and the mirror searches in the grave. So needing to find ways to deal with this. So repeating the same course of action here, the same turn pretty much. Summoning out Trishula. However, that gets Veilered. PePe just like the PePe player here is honestly just going in with those hand traps. Like, they've been decisive all throughout these matches. They've really been so important. But we summon out the Bryanak there, and that's gonna shuffle away the Ignister and one of the plush fires. And then I'm gonna attack over finally, start pushing in for some damage. I don't think it gets critically low anytime soon, but yeah, those don't forget those scales are still going to be an issue. However, with Bryanak on the field, it's a whole different ball game because he knows that if he keeps Pendulum summoning out from his extra deck, Bryanak's not going to bounce him to the extra deck. He's going to bounce him to the main deck, so he's going to run out of fuel eventually. Setting to back row there, of course, summoning out Ignister, and obviously no cards in hand, so definitely no Valk this turn. And yeah, all he really has to do is attack over that Unicorn, and he's going to be able to clear that field very easily. So he declares an attack, and we think about just whether or not it's worth playing this card here, because regardless of what happens, if he lets this attack go through, Ignister's just going to clear his field. He's going to make double Ignister. So we decide that actually Book of Eclipse is probably the best play here. Sure, he's going to draw 4 cards, but he's going to clear his field regardless. So he might as well let him draw 4 cards and keep his field rather than lose his field completely and not be able to play. At least this way he gets to keep his field, gets a Juice Search, and he's going to be able to fight back despite his opponent, having a ton of cards in his hand, realizing that he has to be able to clear this field this turn. But Book of Eclipse also being a bit of a problem card here because it's going to cause those monsters all in the field to not be able to be bounced by Bryanak because they were flipped down. So Bryanak isn't going to be able to flip any of these things down except, well, actually, Atali's not going to be able to flip any of them down. So, yeah, MS Team, one of those cards as well. And then just PePe player is going to activate another one. So it probably would have been debatable to overlay that Unicorn Senju into something. I don't know if he used his Castel. I feel like he did use his Castel this turn. But if he didn't, he could have Castel the scale and then MST the other one. So his opponent would need to have 2 matching scales in his hand on 3 cards, I believe. 4 cards, maybe. Yeah, 4 cards. It sounds like a lot, but if you check his extra deck at this point, he's actually been through quite a lot of Crobats and keyboards. So establishing the correct scales, it'd be pretty tough. It'd be interesting to try reflect on that and seeing if perhaps that Senju should have been overlaid with the Unicorn, and that MST being used on the other scale. Arguably the best thing would have been to have Twin Twister instead, but I mean, I'm sure we can all agree Nekroz with Twin Twister would have been a little bit crazy. And again, for the 3rd time in a row, the 3rd turn, PePe just being able to just spit 5 monsters onto the board like it's nothing after being trished. Oh wait, no, that Trish got negated actually. After being Bryanak twice, just constant, like, relentless. So Shared Ride there being used, of course. These days you're probably wondering why is he playing Shared Ride. We are playing cross banlist, guys. This is format against format, not deck against deck, remember. So everything that whatever is going to be relevant for its time is going to be played, which is a little bit of a shame because we did expect the Jhin to be absolutely critical in these matches, but the Jhin was just outed like surprisingly easily by PePe. Just not very difficult at all to just search that eccentric Archfiend, get access to your Conductor, which arguably was a little bit lucky hard drawing it, since he only really has 2 outs in his deck, I believe, the Conductor and the Conductor and the Archfiend. Being able to just hard draw those, I mean, I feel like, you know, a couple more matches would have maybe given Nekroz a little bit of a chance. And yeah, that's pretty much going to sort out our best of 5, 3-0 to PePe, and even the bonus game was, well, hard fought, but just barely won in the end by Nekroz. So thanks again for watching, guys. Comment, like, and subscribe. Please do try request in the comments any other duels you would like to see, and I'll, well, see if I can get it done for you guys. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.
Come, face me, give in to your pride, show me your greatness.